Hey YouTube, it's John. I haven't done a review in a while, mainly because there hasn't been a game really worthy of reviewing. Well, I'm here to review today WarioWare. It's actually called Game and Wario. I don't know why I called it WarioWare. Freudian slip, I guess. It's an interesting game. It came out for the Wii U last Sunday. It has a lot of special features to it. There's 16 mini games, 4 are multiplayer exclusive, and then you have 12 that are regulars. You take a photo of you, and it's kind of silly. Use these tokens, by the way, and they actually give you an interactive collection. So you use the Cluck-a-Puck like you would Nintendo Land, and you get a collection. And each collection is interactive, so it's a rather interesting thing. So, like, for instance, let me pick this. This is kind of an obscure one, not really all that fun. But as I move the gamepad, so the class is going to go to sleep, and this is just part of the collection. See how they're falling asleep? If I move the gamepad toward the TV, they all wake up. And there's just a ton of obscure prizes, so that's kind of a neat idea. You didn't hear much about it. You unlock them through the capsule machine. And this is kind of what you're working towards. You get one every time you turn on the game. And so, these are just interactive. Some are more interesting than others. I'm going to turn down the TV for a minute. But I want to talk a little bit about what's most important to you guys are the games. Let me go through a couple. Now, the gamepad is actually used in interesting ways. Arrow works a lot like Takamaro's Castle in Nintendo Land. Shutter is an interesting game. So let me just pick the first one. You do have to play through these once to unlock them, but it's pretty easy. So I have to get pictures, so you can kind of see in the picture how it works. I use my gamepad as like a zoomed-in view. I have to get pictures of these like 4 or 5 people, and get them in the right position. So I'm going to look for some of these people. For some reason I'm drawing a blank. Alright, so I got to find them with my camera. And I'm actually moving the gamepad around to find them. And I'm really doing a terrible job. I have to look on the TV because it gives me a better full view. And then I have to find them with the gamepad. And that's not easy. And so I tried to take a photo here, but the problem is and so I got 20 points off because he wasn't facing the camera. Now I can waste my film again and try again. And so I got to find these people, and there's different ones, and I didn't even get the right guy. Oh, I was looking at the wrong person. I'm using the left joystick, so I don't know how well you can see this, but this is the gamepad. And you can see that it's zoomed in and out, and you move it around 360 degrees with the TV. And then you just hit the shoulder button to take a photo. And so this isn't even the right person. And you have so much film. So the point is I'm not really going to play all these games. It's just an interesting concept. Patchwork works like a puzzle. The screens are matched the same. Kung Fu is an interesting idea. Let's talk about gamer. This one's gotten a lot of talk. This is my favorite game. This is much like WarioWare, whereas the others are kind of interesting, just concepts of the Wii U. So I'm playing on my gamepad WarioWare style games while I have to look at the TV because my mother's coming. I'm going to be quiet and just play and watch. I got caught by my mother. So I have to hide under the sheets. And, you know, but while I'm doing this, and I'm going to show you now kind of how the mini games work. I don't know how well you'll see this. Much like WarioWare style games, but I got to look out for my mother. Here she comes. So I have to hide under those sheets. I think it's like 5, but see, I'm playing these games, it becomes very difficult. And that's kind of just the interesting concept here. Probably the best game in the whole collection. An interesting 2-screen mode is Taxi. So you on the top screen, on your main screen, you have like an overview map. You have to shoot down these UFOs. And you have to pick people up, kind of like Crazy Taxi. But on your gamepad screen, you are actually driving in a first-person view of picking people up. And I have to shoot these, basically aliens. So I pick up this chicken, and I have to take this chicken to the barn. Kind of like Crazy Taxi. I can pick up to 3 of them, but I also have to shoot down these UFOs. So what you can see here, if you can at all, is I'm basically playing with the gamepad. It's a first-person view, and so I can actually go in and I have to use the gyro to shoot these UFOs. So then I pick it up, and I can use a combination of my first-person and third-person map to basically just drive and pick them up. And I keep getting money, and eventually you get to a boss level. You can use the gyro or the joystick to move your cannon. You got to shoot them down. Pirates is an interesting game. You move the gamepad around to block arrows. Again, the games are mixed. Some are more interesting than others. But really, here's the big problem with the game. I've already shown you the best parts. I'll just show you 18 volt. This is just so you can see. This is without the mother, so you can see the same screen. It just mirrors. And so these are more WarioWare style classic games. You've played it before. Fun, quick, WarioWare style games. These are fun. This much reminds me of my favorite type of games, the WarioWare games. But all of the games use the gamepad in interesting ways. So don't take this as a negative review. I know I'm sounding like I don't like the game that much, but that's not really true. I really do enjoy the game. I really think that Nintendo did a great job with the game. This really shows off the 2-screen concept. You have a game like Kung Fu. You have to use the gamepad. You look down at the gamepad to see where you're landing, a better view of your platform. It's a top-down view, and then you use the TV to look ahead. So I'm just going to pick this. And there's a lot of hidden things, and you have to get to your trainer, your master. And so it has a view very similar to Okami, a graphical style. And on my main screen, which is difficult to see, I get a top-down perspective, and I'm tilting the gamepad to control my jumping guy. And I have to get there without running out of hunger, and so I have to collect these like onions. And as you can see, I just fell into the water and failed. But that's why this gamepad's important. You can see where you're jumping and use the TV to get a different view to find hidden things. Neat idea. It is actually kind of fun. The critics kind of gave us a bad review and kind of scoffed us off, but it's a cool idea. Ashley's a game where you tilt the gamepad, you kind of play, and it's like a shmup. So I'm just tilting the gamepad, nothing special, just left and right, kind of like driving it. And then you use the shoulder buttons to do various loops. So, and she automatically fires for you, which is kind of a disappointment. Whoops, keep hitting the wrong button. So there's nothing really special about it, but it is fun. I actually thought this was a little bit of a disappointment. But I do enjoy the game. There's only 3 levels, though, and that's the other thing. There's not a lot of depth to the game. Once you unlock all the levels, it just becomes a high score challenge, and there's no leaderboards to the game. So while it is fun, there's not much to say about it. And this is pretty much it. I'm just using the shoulder buttons. I move through. There's not a lot to the game. Fun, nothing great. really not much to say about a lot of these games. They're interesting. Let me show you real quick the multiplayer modes. Most interesting to me is Sketch. Sketch is basically a Pictionary game. Not much to say at home about it. You got to draw objects that they tell you to draw, and somebody else has to guess. And it's a cool concept. Fruit is an interesting concept. Basically, one person with the gamepad is the thief, and all the people watching the TV have to guess who the thief is. So, you know, you're only playing with a gamepad in all of these games. There's no Wii remotes, nothing. It's still guessing the thief. Disco works kind of like Guitar Hero or something. Somebody on one side of the gamepad touches these notes to the beat of the music, and it sends it over, and somebody on the other side has to mimic that beat. So two people are holding the gamepad. Islands is a game where you just basically, you're flinging these guys, kind of like Angry Birds style, at a target. There's different scores, so you got to get them on there, and somebody else tries to knock them off. Kind of a mix of shuffleboard and Angry Birds. Fun game, though, to play with other people. So there's some interesting ideas. Then Me vs. Sketch is interesting, where people just come up with words and you got to draw it. A neat concept, but honestly, I think it could have been done without the game. So all in all, what do I give this game? Well, you have to appreciate the humor. You have to appreciate the artistic endeavor that went into the game. And most importantly, I think you have to appreciate that this is actually a better use of the two-screen concept than, say, Nintendo Land. I would say this is right up there with Zombie U as a game that really shows me that two screens are great. Taxi is probably the best use of the two screens. Pirates is fun. Bird is basically Pyro from other Wario games. Neat concept. So one side's your Game & Watch screen on your little screen, and then the big screen is more of an updated view. Bowling, you use the touchscreen and then you tilt the gamepad. Has a little bit of a Wario twist. All of these games have humor. The prizes are really funny. Ski is nothing that you haven't seen before. It's basically like Captain Falcon's F-Zero Twisted Race or whatever it's called in Nintendo Land. Patchwork is a puzzle game. A lot of fun. There's a lot of puzzles. I still haven't finished those. And you want to collect these tokens to get the awards. I like that the awards are more interactive versus the rewards you got in Nintendo Land, which you just kind of sit in your park. So all in all, I'm going to give this game a solid 7 out of 10. It didn't deserve a 5 that IGN gave it, but the problem is it is $40, and you're getting a lot of iPad-style games. A lot of fun, but I would maybe wait for a price cut, but to be honest with you, you probably won't see it because this is a Nintendo game, and I don't think there's many copies. I've yet to see a retail copy on the shelf. I had to download this from the eShop. But all in all, fun game. You can spend a lot of time playing it. If you have a lot of people over, you get more enjoyment. It's like Nintendo Land. The more people that play, the better. Thanks for watching. This was John. Game & Wario gets a 7 out of 10.